Hi, Artemis Paint here. Trading current scores is a popular method. In this video, I'll explain how the current scores change in a football match when the two teams are equally matched. This video is not meant as a system, it's just meant to describe how odds change throughout a football match. So, closely matched teams. I'll use a match between Chelsea and Tottenham as an example of a match where two teams are closely matched. So you can see the odds of Chelsea and Tottenham are both 2.8 and the odds of the draw are 3.4. And you should note that the ideas in this video only apply to matches where the two teams are fairly equally matched. You have the advantage in these matches in that the odds will move the same way and by the same magnitude, whichever side scores. In addition, the odds will change in the same direction if neither team scores. So I'll deal with the two following main situations: when a goal is not scored and when a goal is scored. So, current scores and connecting scores. In this video, I'll use the terms current scores and connecting scores to mean the following. The current score is the score at any moment in time. So, when no goals have been scored, the current score is 0-0. Connecting scores are the next possible scores should either side score a goal. So, when no goals have been scored, the connecting scores are 1-0 and 0-1. So, no goals are scored. So, from the beginning of the match, the odds of 0-0, 1-0 and 0-1 will steadily decrease. This gradual reduction in the odds will last until around the 65th minute of the game. From approximately the 65th minute, the odds of the current score, which in this case is 0-0, will reduce, while the odds of all the other scores, including the connecting scores 1-0 and 0-1, will gradually increase. So let's look at what happens when a goal is scored. When a goal is scored by either team, 0-0 and one of the one-goal score lines are dead. So the change in the odds of the new current score, which will be 1-0 or 0-1, depends on when this goal was scored and how much action is anticipated in the remainder of the match. So for this example, I'll assume that the first goal was scored by the home team. So after an early goal, there'll be increased odds for 1-0 followed by a decline. So if the first goal comes early, for example in the first 15 minutes, the odds of the new current score, 1-0, are very likely to increase. And this is because the market will be expecting more goals when there's been an early goal. In a game that's low in end-to-end action, the odds will reduce for 1-0 if the goal is scored around the 20th minute or later. If the game has had a lot of action, the first goal can result in an increase of the odds of 1-0 up to the 50th minute of the game. So you should note when I say that the odds may increase, they might not increase to their pre-match level. What I mean is that the odds may increase above the level just before the goal was scored. So here's a summary of the effects of the first goal on the odds of 1-0. So another important score line is the 1-1 score line. So if no goals are scored, the correct score 1-1 will usually stay fairly stable for the first 25 minutes of the match. After 25 minutes, the odds for 1-1 will gradually drift. When a goal is scored, as with the draw, the effects of a goal on the 1-1 correct score depend on whether a lot of goals are anticipated and the time in the game that the goal was scored. With low action games, the odds of 1-1 will usually reduce, after the first goal. With high action games, the odds of 1-1 will increase up to about 30 if the first goal is scored up to 30 minutes into the game. However, if the first goal is scored in the second half, the odds of 1-1 are likely to reduce. I mean, when I talk about low and high action games, I'm talking about the extremes. So the medium action games would generally result, a goal in the first 15 minutes would generally result in the odds of 1-1 increasing. And from around the 15th to the 30th minute, a goal won't significantly change the odds of 1-1. And after about the 30th minute, a goal will cause the odds of 1-1 to shorten. So, in all cases, if the first goal is scored late in the game, the odds of 1-1 might not shorten compared to the odds at kickoff. As I mentioned, after the 25th minute, the odds of 1-1 will start to drift. So a late goal will almost always shorten the odds of 1-1 compared to its drifted odds. However, a late goal might not necessarily reduce the odds below the pre-match odds. And as you would expect, this will depend on how late the first goal is and how much action there's been in the game so far. So this is a summary table of the effects of the first goal on the odds of 1-1. So let's briefly look at all the other correct scores. So the other correct scores include all score lines where one team has scored 2 goals or more. In general, all the other correct scores will drift from the start of the match if a goal is not scored. If a goal is scored, the odds of all the other correct scores will move in. The odds of the new connecting scores, that's the scores that can be reached with 1 goal, will generally move in sharply. For example, let's say the score reaches 2-0, the new connecting scores will be 2-1 and 3-0, and these will move in sharply when the second goal's been scored. So, while laying the draw is the most popular football trading method, trading the current scores is also very popular. And in this video, you should be aware that the times given for the changes in the odds are estimates. Whether a match is high, medium, or low action can change during a match. So that's all for this video, and please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.